Greetings and welcome to my dear Leo. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. This is a reading for the 5th house, as well the axis of the 5 and the 11, which opens up the gate of responsibility when it comes to independence, the ability to respect freedom, forms of exploration in terms of goals and ambitions that have to do with individuation of the self, the expression of individual case scenarios, and that's essentially what is drawn up to the energy of Leo. This is a solar reading, and with this, I don't intend to burn anyone, but there is the tendency for combustion with the energy of any solar placement in Leo, of course. So what this means is that often there is a type of karma or a dharma that is immediately linked to righteousness in the idea of self-realization, okay? And this is one of the secrets that occurs with solar energy. At the same time, self-realization, it comes at a cost. If you are not evolved in terms of solar progression, there is a possibility to overly explode and then in reverse implode in such a way that the oscillation would combust others, combust other planets, combust other people in terms of their representation to you, especially when it comes to significant others. Now, the significant other that draws Leo and that is drawn in by Leo especially has the usual complexion of Saturn, okay? Saturnian people with the touch of Uranus, the 11th house, Aquarius energy, okay? Now, karmically, if you look to the yod formation that surrounds these people of significance that come into your life, there is an activation of the 10th house, which is ruled by Saturn, as well as the 12th house, which is ruled by Neptune, okay? And the 10 and the 12 reflect sort of karmic blocks, barriers, boundaries, and then also the saturation of these, the dissolution of these karmas, okay? So it's a very particular, interesting thing in that both of you are seeking out independent forms of self-expression as well. The ones that you draw in are particular, they're eccentric. They are essentially not to be tamed in such a way that they won't be held back in terms of living in a present or past mode of existence, meaning that they are future-oriented. And these are some of the secrets, at least from my own research, that I've found within this axis. Now let's go on and move forward. I'll be doing 3 spreads for my Leos out there. The first is a karmic spread. Basically, this is for the month of March 2023. For the energy of Leo, we'll look into the karma first. Okay, so what this is leading up to is an intuitive hit, okay? Something is happening in terms of your own power, your own dynamism, your ability to self-generate. It's advised here that you take good care of your digestive system. I'm not a medical astrologer, I'm not a doctor of any sort. However, the cards are indicating that there may be a block in terms of your intuition. This has to do with, in the month of March, a feeling of expectation, and you need to balance out and plant new seeds, okay, in what seems like isolated ground that could be unfertile in nature, okay. This is all, of course, metaphorical by design. I mean, if you're planting seeds, it could be anything from, a new place of residence, new jobs, new commitments, new friends, anything that has to do with the golden round, new resources, planning those so that they may work for you. There is a realm of expectation here. I think what Leos may be seeking out primarily is the 3 of Pentacles, which leads to eventually the 10 of Pentacles from the 7, okay? If you're searching for that, it would require you to balance out at least 2 projects, okay? Usually it has to do with working with others. The thing is that it's very difficult There's something about isolation. There's something about disparity, you know, sort of a barren quality about your reality, about your projects that needs to be balanced out, you know. I think the more you give to others, there's a possibility for cooperation and cohabitation, co-optation, okay? Two cards that jumped out are the Six of Rods as well, and the Five of Pentacles in reverse. There's something that is striking, something that is cropping up in the reading, that it resembles the path of Leo, the path of self-recognition, okay? This has to do with the leadership position, being recognized, and this is something that has to do with pride, the ability to come into one's own skin, to, you know, really embody a higher elevation of ego operation. Okay, now ego gets a very bad rap, generally speaking, in terms of the psychological stance. Ego is something that that is directly tied to desire. However, at the same time, if someone is self-aware, the ego can be used in a much more creative way to facilitate great and powerful things when it comes to willpower. Okay, the thing that I see here is seeking out love within adversity. The ability to attract someone is very strong here, and perhaps in the month of March, there's a possibility of truly letting go with the Ace of Cups in reverse and the Three of Cups in reverse here. Anything that would be, you know, of the past, you know, in terms of like false connections, or possibly anything that has to do with a change of heart, something where it's like a falling out. I think you've left that behind. There's a need to balance yourself out in terms of the past and the future, okay? And if you live in the present, you might find that there is an order in the chaos, okay? That there's something about what you're doing in terms of, in terms of your projects, your cooperation with others, that requires a touch of independence, a touch of flair, and where you can find within your crisis, if it is happening for you, an ability to sort of have faith in others. Something here is pointing to a choice that will lead you to the Eight of Rods in the reverse. If you take the 2 from the 8, it's the 6 of Rods in the reverse, okay? Which creates a very interesting dynamo here. What I'm seeing is primarily the ability to sort of do things without really caring about what has previously affected you. There's something about the King of Swords that is pointing to some form of, it would be the 2 of Cups as well as the 10 of Cups. Interesting. Some sort of ability to really let go of tension, okay, for one thing. To let go of expectation, to be humbled in a process that has to do very greatly with the 6 of Rods, negotiating the 6 of Rods, okay? Once again, this is the path of Leo, and it has to do with essentially trying to let go of the past and moving towards something in the future. At the same time, as I've mentioned before, something about a reflection in your body, some sort of psychosomatic, you know, thing that's going on there. There's a possibility of releasing that, choosing to release it. At the same time, it will, in effect, it will create something, it will help you to realize something in terms of a block of your own creativity, of your own manifestation. We're going to look more deeply into this Seven of Pentacles. Ace of Cups also is very interesting in the reverse. 5 of Cups in the reverse, that's a good thing. Yeah, what's really cropping up for me, though, is really making a choice, making a clear choice with the 2 of Rods towards the 6 of Rods, which is essentially towards the 8, and then that's the 6. So what I'm seeing here is a big undertow when it comes to your own path. And even though it may feel like isolated or barren, you need to find in your crisis essentially a way to balance out multiple things, to give to many different places, to plant seeds, not just in one place, but in at least 2. Okay. So let's move on. We're going to look at an incident for the month of March. The general karma is a 7 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. That has to do with seeking out legacy that has been lost, seeking out what you have trying to be, what you're trying to earn, okay? The thing is that it's dynamic. What you're reaping is essentially its fodder, or its new life that can be reset into the ground, resown. Okay, there's this sort of cycle of death and regeneration that's implied here. Okay. Okay, interesting. This, of course, is going to be complicated. Okay, we have two major arcana here. We have justice in the past. We have the world. Cardinal energy in the past. There's something about what you are seeking out to make amends for in the past tense. Okay. We all get this, but you can't turn back the sort of progress of an evolutionary curve, for one thing. The vision that you are given now, it's fixating on the past very, very intensely to make amends for something, especially lost love or unrequited business, wherein there was a non-reciprocal nature. The king is hiding a truth. The cold king of cups is hiding a truth. King of cups showing up again here, moving to this this page of pentacles. Okay, so there's a part of you that wants to go ahead and push forward and plant something new, to create a sense of fertility, create something new, to create some sort of thing to happen. The problem is that the king is looking back. It's looking towards justice. Okay. A part of you wants to essentially understand, to come to realization of some sort of karma, some sort of thing that occurred in terms of the loss of something, the loss of something. Loss is a big theme here in this reading. However, the world is turning. There's something very fixed about what you are here to accomplish. You have to try to find ways to sort of come to a transformation, to realize some form of transformation. This has to do with new moon cycles. This has to do with the gateway, trying to also mirror yourself, trying to essentially push yourself in a different direction. I think there's a lot of this going on for this month. But in terms of an incident, there's something that you're fixating on. It has to do with what you've been working on and why it's not giving you much in return. Okay, as you look to the past, you're trying to understand through a system of business or a system of transactions, especially when it comes to relationships with other people, trying to find justice with that. And because the Ace of Cups is here, it's very difficult. There was something very stable at one point, and perhaps you've given a bit of your time. Now that time is being sort of shifted to another energy. It's being converted into a place of innocence, okay? As you go ahead and try to make this new fertility for yourself in the future, there is a possibility of constantly being reverted back and giving back to old and toxic energies, okay? Old and toxic relationships, okay? Do not be tempted about that. There's something about the stability that you had within one particular relationship, okay, that is requiring some sort of karmic balance, a balancing out of things, a scale, okay. And if you sort of run with that expectation, there is a possibility that your fixity on the past might actually create a sense of like order, okay, to the past, okay, which sounds really difficult considering that you have already contributed to something that was working in the past, okay. But now I think there's a possibility to truly, embrace this. I see here fortune turning to your favor. There's the ability to become extremely fertile with the Chariot and the Page of Pentacles here. So look to that future, whatever that is. There also is something about a home. That home being empty, it's sort of being soiled in some sort of way at the same time. These are all possibilities. When it comes to advice about this, use your intuition. There's something about the balancing out of the energy of strength. Okay, let's call it strength in terms of your intellect, in terms of the way you think. It's measured by the quality of the sword. Okay, the quality of a sword, like the mind, is able to bend. Okay, it's able to create new sort of formulations of itself in order to preserve its strength. The strongest of swords do bend, and they also are kept in their sheaths. So perhaps use your intuition when it comes to this. There's a possibility of really coming into and saying what you will to the past in terms of reckoning with this person, place, or thing. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the Great Mirror. The Great Mirror is a 9-card spread devised by the Order of the Twin Sun to see particular karmas that may exist between Leo and a particular other. Usually this is signified through a Saturnian individual. And it's very strange because I don't know if the Sun and Saturn actually correlate quite well. That axis has always been something of a mystery to me, but at the same time, it's a fixed axis. Fixed fire is like a laser beam. Fire is never truly fixed. If it is, it's also, it's minute, it's finite. If you look at the way light works in terms of energy, I mean, that's basically what fire is. It's light. And there's something about it that is enlightening. Not to just be bullshit about it, but it actually is. The 5th house is one of the houses of Dharma in the Vedic tradition. And there's something about the quest for realization that is quite strong, and it doesn't take bullshit from anyone. It's quite serious. There's a lightheartedness to it, an innocence. At the same time, the energy of the sun constantly explodes and implodes upon itself and is maintained with its own gravity field. There is a sense that the ego can develop some sort of expression, some sort of mode of expression, and it doesn't really care about what other people think. And that's, I think, one of the beautiful things about Leo. It's quite individualistic. So let's go on and move into the Great Mirror. Interesting. Okay, so firstly, the way you see this person, there's a smugness about them. They have many options when it comes to possibilities, yet they don't take any of them. There is a sense that this person is a champion of some sort. That likewise, they see you as a victor of some sort. What comes in strongly in this reading is the ability to intuit something, to impart a message, to live according to some design, something that's close to par excellence. Okay. In this respect, I see a mutual sort of reciprocation when it comes to how you interact consciously. There are 2 elements here: fire and water, water and fire. Fire and water, water and fire. And with this, there is the possibility of some form of alchemy that could create, okay, interesting, the 3 of Swords. We have here the 7 of Pentacles in the mirror, the 2 of Rods in the mirror as well. This person is waiting for the right moment. There's something about them that requires the purity, the purity of fire to do something in terms of a rite of passage. I think both of you are making the choice to do something. It has to do with essentially noticing certain patterns of the mind in terms of conversation, how things cross, and then some sort of new truth coming through conflict. Okay, so there's a lot of friction in this reading so far. I think you essentially give this person a reason to really turn into themselves and also to turn inward. Okay. So as you do this, as you may observe that they are on this sort of path that requires a lot of isolation, self-realization, and they always have an option. At the same time, Judgment's in the reverse, the Chariot's in the reverse. That's what they want, the Chariot in the reverse when it comes to this situation. You come in as a ray of sun in dark times for them, and perhaps that's how you want to be perceived, as someone who gives quite a bit in terms of the ability to break through, to also impart messages. There's a penetrative force to that in which you do when it comes to this. The thing is that a part of you would like to gather the strength to make your way to this person. However, it seems that a lot of what you do in terms of that creates a type of friction. And this is because a part of you may be grappling with some darker aspects about yourself as you project into the reality. At the same time, there's a great deal of love and commitment in this, some sort of possibility for really just passing the chalice off. Okay, even if the love that you feel or the compassion that you feel for somebody that's like this, even though it may feel like it's yours, it also may feel like it's just passing through you. Okay, if that makes any sense, meaning that you are merely a sort of vehicle for this to occur. The thing is that if you're constantly holding back a darker side of yourself, then how can you truly be sort of real about the strength of force that you have when it comes to a need to express yourself in a deeper way to this person? And that's why I'm saying it's more of a vehicle. If you take care of the vehicle and that in which you're trying to move towards anyone or anything, especially a person like this, there is a need to understand how that vehicle is operating in terms of its ability to sustain itself, to maintain a sense of momentum, or come up with a design in which there could be some sort of forward movement. Okay, let's just call it that. Now, the thing is that you've encountered this type of person before. They have the same archetypal features, the same kind of psychological dynamic about them, their complexion, and parts of them in terms of shadow could actually echo some of the other people that you've met in terms of essences, in terms of soul energy. And it's come to my realization that as we get older, there's a proclivity to sort of noticing the similarities in terms of characteristics of those we draw in. This person seems to be detached, unattached. They see potential, but they never sort of really live up to it, especially when you try to give to them something. Therein lies a choice between two different paths, okay? Both of them lead to a type of challenge of some sort. And there is no surprise here. There's almost an element of wit or dynamism, a chagrin, some sort of verve or a type of audacity when it comes to the actions that you produce in this type of situation. Therein, Saturn is highly activated, okay? Saturn is highly activated in this situation. Now, the lesson of Saturn through the Seven of Pentacles, it is a lesson in humanity, in that in which we are held back in terms of our ability to express some form of evolution. There is a barrenness to humanity in terms of its ability to truly express something that would relate to a New Jerusalem, or something that would relate to a celestial realm. We are entrapped by our terrestrialism, and there's something about this where there needs to be a sense of order. There's a need for patience. There also is a sort of a need to get to something beyond the Seven of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles. All represent some sort of harmony on a humanistic level. Okay, that also transcends, and it brings a sense of charity. Okay, as you go beyond the seven. Unfortunately, Saturn is a real son of a gun when it comes to patience, and you need that patience for this type of situation to work. Right now, there's a lot that has to do with essentially shadow play, and also a need to be inspired in some way, shape, or form. This person is arbitrary in nature. It can be changeable. Their options are many, and the options that they have to choose from, they don't inspire in such a way that they would actually go ahead and reach out, and do something with that, even if it is offered to them. In that respect, there is a barren quality to this, especially if there is that image I've been talking about of someone who's coming from the past that is trying to essentially make their way through again, to come into being, to be resurrected, to be reanimated. It's difficult. So, yeah, I think if you shine your light and you act in the truest form of compassion, there's nothing you can do wrong. Not at all. And if you're dealing with this person, you can lead by an example of the very game, the very sort of process of what you're doing in terms of conquering your darker sides. Okay. I just know that if you meet these people that are similar in terms of a cycle, the cycle is spiralistic in nature. It's fractal also. So it sort of, there's a feedback loop. And when this loop plays, there's an ability to see your own, it's like a mantra, your own sort of inner swirl, your own patterns, your own individuality. At the same time, it's totally unique, and it's unique to different people when it comes to the type of shadow work we're supposed to do, what we're called to do. But let's just say that I believe in you, and I think you can do quite well in terms of it. One thing that you should try to do is to honor that in which you put and place your hands in a ritualistic way. What is your behavior when you approach situations like this? Where are your hands kept? How do you behave? And to notice the path you're on, to also go into deep forms of isolation and inward movement to essentially understand your own path and how it is completely distinguished from this individual, whomever you're dealing with. So that is the best I can do. I think that was a pretty damn good reading for now. I do wish you well. Thank you. Bye-bye.